Hey everybody. So today's video is going to be on balance. Balance. Okay, so what I mean by balance is the dark and the night of this world. Dark and the night. Oops, my bad. No. The dark and the light of this world. Okay, so trauma. When you experience something traumatic, and that scale is going to be different for everybody. What's traumatic to me may not be traumatic to somebody else. And what someone else perceives as a danger or a threat may not be what someone else perceives as a danger and threat. This all depends on your upbringing, who you are, what your surroundings were like, what you've seen growing up, blah, 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 blah. Conditioning. Okay, that being said, there's universal laws on how to balance these energies within us. In an earlier video that I have tagged down below, I talked about creating a group, which is now going to be for group therapy, for narcissistic abuse. So we can expand on each other's perspectives. And we could see how the evolution of a narcissistic relationship starts to break you down as a person. You know, I thought I was the most healed when I went through this recent experience. And it turns out that I wasn't. But right away, I could tell this is something within me from my dad, from my childhood. And the emotions that I was feeling, that's exactly what I thought about. Like this is reminding me of how my dad used to treat me. Like, not that I'm relating the relationship, like this person to my dad, but no, the way that it made me feel, like the unworthiness, the lack of acknowledgement. I am a go hard or go home person. Just don't go home hard, you know? So I have no problem hitting that nail on the head. However, though, I've been doing my whole lifetime I've dedicated to emotional regulation. My whole lifetime I've dedicated to improving myself. My whole life, this is honestly what I live for. This is the embodiment of me, came with the destruction and reconstruction of my identity multiple times. So the universal truths that I hold on to, I know they're universal truths because they apply to multiple different areas of my life. Right. This group. I want it to be for group therapy, for women to come and discuss the abuse and the emotions that they're feeling inside of themselves. So we have somebody to guide healing, because it's messy. It's not a straight line, okay? And to hold space for you just to be. Because I'm not going to try and tell you to not be sad. I'm going to tell you, yes, be sad, cry, be sad and cry until you're ready to stop crying. Because these emotions are very much a vital part of finding your self-worth. In the future, once I find a male who has experienced a narcissistic, or not just one, probably multiple narcissistic relationships, and has come down to their own science, I will be looking to collaborate with somebody like that. Because it's not that I'm here to hate on men at all. That's not it. I'm not here to hate on women. Right now, why I'm focusing on the women's group is because I currently don't have another male that I've met who's wanting to create another online community to collaborate between the two. I am excited for that, but that's very much so in the future. All right, so back to my topic. When I was in this recent relationship, like I said, I thought it was healed. This brought up feelings of my dad, my self-worth, and allowed me to find my inner child again. The soft part of me, the spot that didn't want to be the bigger person. Okay, so when I did that, it was nice to read. You know, when I was crying, I was even grateful that I was crying, because for the first part of my life, I was in such a dark environment. I like to call the underworld, that if I showed emotion, I was weak. It wasn't the kind of spot that you did that, the kind of environment that you did that, a life that you did that in. And that was from the time that I was 13 to 22, 25, something like that. I'm 25 now, but I mean, in 2021, however old I was then. Okay, so in that lifestyle, being in feminine energy was hard because I had to protect myself. Coming out of that environment and coming into the normal life, I feel like the emotions that I experienced were a buildup of my past experiences, yes. However, so necessary for me to grow as a person, to step into the softness of myself, to be comfortable there, and to like being there. So when I was crying or I was upset or I was denying my instincts, like I was grateful and I was analyzing every single minute of it because it's a different energy to be in, and it's a different perception. Not so much different perception, it's a different feeling energetically to be in. So I got to observe it all. It was really, it is a awesome point to be at in my life and skill to have under my arsenal to trust myself. Getting into the topic of trust, when I was in this relationship, I so felt the want to trust, or the want, not so much trust, the want to be good. I felt the want to be good, but the lack of trust of how to be good. And as soon as that person admitted to me that they don't know what trust feels like, I knew that they didn't trust themselves. And when someone doesn't trust themselves, that's a dangerous point to be at. Even interacting with anybody like that is a very dangerous spot to be in. And it's not so much that it's unpredictable, because it's actually more predictable than you think when someone doesn't trust themselves, like what they're going to do next. Okay. Yeah, you become the less you trust yourself, the more predictable you are, because you rely on patterns when you don't trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you can think outside of the box. See? All right. So how does it mean to trust yourself? Well, that's a complicated question now, isn't it? So I wrote this thing one time. It's like a cool L. Oh wow. Oh wow. Anyway. Oh, I almost died again. Okay. So lack of trust. I wrote this thing one time saying that women mistake a guy's the energy of the soul, a guy's energy of his soul, to be his character. And it's not the guy's fault either, because the guy literally lacks the capacity in the beginning stages of their life. Like, I don't know, like probably just help their, I want to say 28, the latest, up until they're 28. I mean, the soonest. To see from the bird's eye point of view of what they're doing. And then even after that, sometimes they never get the point. But that's okay. It's okay. After 30 years old, it's almost impossible to change. Just saying. You got a big challenge ahead of you if you want to try after 30. Anywho, back to my point. So lack of trust, what does it mean? You made decisions that have led you down wrong paths. Did I spell many things wrong? Don't come after me. I'm just going to put that. What else do you do when you live in a shoe? You maybe lose out on opportunities. What else do you do when I don't trust myself? I have doubt. I doubt myself and others. You can lack intention. Lack of intention. lack of intention, the victim mentality. So like the lack of intention and victim mentality, like when you lack intention, something that manifests from that, like what it projects out into society is a victim mentality. So like that's a projection of behaviors, and that's the behavior that is being presented. I'll take one out of there. Okay. All right. So where are we at here? So made decisions, wrong path, wrong path, lose out on opportunities, doubt myself and others, lack of intention, integrity. So lack of intention, another thing that manifests off that is integrity, lack of integrity, because you don't know what you believe in. Lack of integrity. And I think another thing that is really confusing is something that is confused often is what integrity can look like in different aspects of life. So, like I said, I lived in the underworld for the majority of the first portion of my life. That being said, I still upheld my integrity within the rules of that world. Okay, so you need to know what you stand for. And being in that world when I was 13 years old, I was like, okay, well, what does this world represent? What is respectable in this world? Who do I need to become? And that's exactly what I did. Those are the rules that I adopted. Okay. That's keeping my integrity. Like, I embodied those rules. I knew that like those are the core, the root things that I need to stick to. Now, what do I believe in around that? Okay. So in a way, like my environment molded me, but I also I understood how to mold myself while being in alignment of the darkness. Okay. And like balance is literally key. If you could, if you want to be there or part of the 144,000, okay, that's going up to heaven or whatever the hell you guys, purple monkey dishwasher. If you want to be with God, you better know what it means to stand with God. To stand with God means that He trusts you. And if He can't trust you, if He can't trust you in the darkness, why the hell would He have you for battle? Just saying. Why would He choose you to battle? To have on His, to have in His army, if He can't trust you in the dark? If you're scared of the dark, if it's all love and light, you need to understand that like the dark, we have duality for a reason. Okay? Because we wouldn't know how good it could be if we didn't know how bad it could be. If there's any other ladies who have a fair amount of knowledge, I would say at least a fair amount of knowledge, and have healed, please come and join my group because, honey, we got a lot of talking to do. We got some group therapy sessions coming in, and we got a lot of women to bring back to wholeness. So, remember, this is just a little tidbit of it, okay? Balance, lack of trust. How does that come out? We can lack trust because we made wrong decisions. We have lost out on opportunities, doubt ourselves and others. We lack intention, projections, and behaviors that come off of that. It would be the victim mentality, the lack of integrity, and congruency. There's different kinds of integrity, okay? Uh, my integrity was always my moral compass. Because my lifestyle shifted so much, and I had to become multiple different faces and like to survive, like this is just the way it was. Now I'm in my full authenticity. Now I'm back in my integrity because I don't want to be a gangster, man. There's nothing gangster about being a gangster, okay? And like I don't want to be like out that light. But I really did think I was at one point. For many years, I really did. I gave it like a good 10 years of my life to thinking that's what I wanted. And yeah, I mean, I got some thick skin, seen some shit. What do I got to show for it though? Like, what is it to me? What is it? The knowledge of how to pull people, the wisdom that I needed to get out of it is that's what I've been able to, like, that's my wholeness. That's who I am. Like, everything that I have has been in my upbringing. Everything that I've learned has been, there's meaning behind it. And the meaning doesn't make me emotional because trust me, I was in an environment where emotions ain't gonna fly. So I was cut off completely emotionally. I actually felt numb, like I was living my life. My eyes, what I was seeing wasn't in my body. It felt like I was in a video game. So remember that even if you're fighting yourself, even if you win, you're gonna lose. So how do you get around that? That's up to you guys to figure out for yourselves. I know what worked for me. If you want to know, then comment down below and I will let you know. Okay, bye. It's about time we just start going on our own journeys and understand that, like, us being a monster doesn't mean that's who we are forever. However, it is our responsibility to be aware of why we are being a monster. People always say to have innovation, we need a war. You want to know why we need a war? Because people do not change until the suffering outweighs the effort to change. Okay? So if we keep this mentality of like, oh, I'm good the way that I'm happy the way I am until a war happens, because that when a war happens, it'll be finally worth it to change. Honey, the world has got us changing for the wrong motives. The world has conditioned all of us worldwide to only change when the suffering outweighs the effort. The only thing that never gets old is war, because that's exactly what we're doing. So I don't see a whole lot of evolution here. I feel like gonna have another war.